Okay, hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. You guys might notice a little bit of different scene behind me. Did a little cleanup, I guess you could say, of the basement and the little studio area that I have here in the corner as well. So you see Molly there in the background. Molly's been with us since our first son was born, going back now almost 12 years. So we don't have the heart to get rid of her. So she's with me now in my little studio area. Hope you guys enjoy it. And we switched up the lighting a little bit as well. Made it a little bit more, I think, neutral, a little bit warmer color as well. Let me know what you guys think of that. But just playing around with the studio a little bit here. All right, what do we got going on today? Bitcoin's dropping right now. It's about down $1,000 or so in the new day, basically, going into Monday. Could be the bears, could be also, well, I don't know what else it could be. I think it's just the bears are trying to bring Bitcoin down a little bit more so into the end of the month here, as tomorrow, Monday, is the last day of the month. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, especially once the actual trading happens on the stock markets and things like that. Okay, so we got that. We'll also take a look at the miners, see how they did against Bitcoin this past week, how far they are from their 52-week highs. We'll look at the enterprise metrics as well, and the miners, where do they stand right now. And we'll get into you guys' Q&A. Should be pretty easy. And then also, I was planning on doing a Friday stream, but my wife went out with her girlfriends on Friday night, and I had my brother-in-law show up as well with his kids, because his wife went out with my wife. So we played with the kids and things like that. So that's why I didn't do a live stream on Friday. All right, but let's get into it here. You guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin right now and Bitcoin miners here on Friday. And where are we at right now? So here's what we got going on. Bitcoin right now is down a little bit. It's down approximately $1,100 or so. It's down 1.72%. Not too bad, right? We're still above our support line here at 63,700. We're above our 200 simple day moving average as well. Those are all good things here. RSI is coming down, actually lower to where it was back here. Our price at that point was also lower at that point. So this is looking pretty good. This might be a nice little correction that we, probably could use in order for Bitcoin to continue to go up. We can't have a continuation of it just continuing to go up, and up. We need a little bit of a pullback. I think this is healthy. We'll see how tomorrow ends up, though. As far as the miners didn't do too great on Friday for the most part. I mean, we had some in the green, some in the red, and it was kind of mixed more or less. Big gainers were Argo, for some reason, was up 14%, almost 15% on Friday. BitTBT was up 5.5%. Bitfarms was up just a little bit here, 2.25%. Cleanspark was up barely. Digihost was up huge, 9% as well. Hive was up just a little bit, 3.5%. Mawson, huge, up also. Like the smaller miners were doing really good on Friday. It seems like they were catching a little bit of a bid here. Mawson was up 12%, and then Riot was up just barely, 0.9. Stronghold was up also just a little bit here, 1.3, and then the rest were pretty much down. Nobody was down too bad, except for maybe DMG here, looks like, was down 5%. Everybody else was only like 1 or 2, 3% down, so it wasn't too bad on the day. We don't have any new stories as far as where things are with the miners. We did have the hurricane come through, and it hit Georgia quite a bit here, so it seems like Cleanspark's operations are down from where they should be. And I think that's just mainly because of power outages. That's all I'm hoping it is. We'll find out maybe tomorrow what they report on that, if they report, or we'll find out on either Tuesday or Wednesday when they supply us with their monthly production update. I'm sure they'll put something in there stating what was the impact of the operations and things like that. But a power outage should be fixed within the next, oh, you guys can probably hear my dog going crazy for some reason. Probably saw somebody walking by on the sidewalk. So I apologize for that. But with Cleanspark, I think, the power outages should be repaired within a day or two, 3 or 4 at the most, I would think. At the sites that were affected by it, as long as there wasn't any damage done to the facilities themselves, they should be up and running relatively quickly here. So, it's one of those things where you can't control it, unfortunately. But it's going to happen from time to time to some of these guys here, whether it's winter storms, thunderstorms, or tornadoes, or hurricanes coming through. It's going to have an impact on the miners for a little bit of a time. Okay, so that's it on that. Let's take a look at the network hash rate here really quick as well on it. And I probably should refresh this or see if this is the latest one. This is the latest one. So the network hash rate right now is down to 623 exahash on the 7-day average. If we look at the 30-day average as well, we can see that that is still, it's kind of going sideways for a little bit over the last week or so. It's like 641 exahash right now. And then if we look at the hash price on Bitcoin, I want to go to the 1 month, or not 1 day. 1 month is pretty good. What am I looking at here? BTC per exahash. I want to see USD per exahash. There we go. Okay, so that has been coming up here. We peaked at $48 here. This was on September 27th. So this was 2 days ago. And we've been coming down ever since then. We are at $47. Not down too much, but that's kind of where we're stuck with that. Then if we look at Bitcoin price, let's update this with the recent numbers that we have. Bitcoin going down here. We're still at 10.84% on the month so far in September, so that's looking pretty good. For us, it still should be a green month overall, unless Bitcoin goes down 11% tomorrow, which I don't really expect that to happen. So we should have a green month in September. October, as we always talk about, should be a really good month for us historically. And that's kind of what we're kind of anticipating here as well. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, so that's it on that one. Let's take a look at the market caps of the miners really quick here. You can see that Marathon, number 1, 5 billion. CORZ at 3 billion. Cleanspark at number 3 spot with 2.5. Then you got Riot at 2.3. Followed by TeraWolf, 1.9 almost roughly. IREN at 1.6. Cypher 1.3. HUT with 1.2 roughly. BitDeer at 1. Bitfarms at 1 billion. And then you got BitDigital 500 million and Hive at 393 million. Hive is definitely way undervalued from where it really should be valued on it. But it's just the way it is right now. All right. So that's it on that one. Enterprise metrics, where are those? We'll take a look at those as well as of the end of Friday's closing. Stock prices. So here's what we got. TeraWolf, BitDigital, CORZ are being way overvalued right now in their current hash rate. And then we got Hive, Riot, Iris, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and I would even maybe say Marathon are being undervalued based on the current operations here. More so these guys up here, the first 5. And then when you look at the future hash rate growth, you got Riot, Cleanspark, Iris, Hive, Bitfarms, right, way under 45 million or less. And then you got TeraWolf at 188 million. Doesn't really make sense there. So those guys are way undervalued right now. You can see the rest as they are. I'm not going to go through them all. And then this is based on August numbers. We'll get this updated for September numbers when we get their BTC production for that month and where their enterprise value per BTC produced at that point as well. We'll talk about that next week sometime when that gets updated. Now, looking as far as how the miners did last week, the miners did it really, really good. We'll go down that. We'll talk about that in a second here. But first, this is how far the miners are up from their 52-week lows and how far away they are from their 52-week highs here. And we got TeraWolf here doing really, really well here, 455% up from their 52-week lows. And that is, like I keep saying, that's with the hype and on HPCI right now for them. That's what's really driving the stock here. We really need to see something on that. If we don't see something within like probably the next 3 months or something like that, that might have a pretty sizable impact on the stock price going forward. CORZ is up 365. We know that's because they have a CoreWeave deal there. That's tremendous. IREN's up 270%. They've been doing really well as well. BitDeer's up 204. Cleanspark 199. So those guys have all outperformed Bitcoin here in the last 52 weeks, where Bitcoin's only up 147%. Bitfarms is pretty close to that, 144, just being even with Bitcoin. And you got along with Marathon here, and then you got Hut 8, BitDigital, Cypher, Hive, and Riot, the worst underperformer here out of the bunch here in the last 52 weeks. And then this is how far away they are from the 52-week highs, or from the 52-week highs. Riot being down the most, 58%. Actually, no, Cleanspark's down the most, 59%. Riot's just below that a little bit, 58.2%. And then everybody else stacked up that way. Last week, we had a great week for the miners. Cypher, tremendous job there. They came out with in use on their closing of the facility or the land to get 300 megawatts, and they did provide that they are having substantive talks with hyperscalers about multiple options there. So that's what really drove the stock last week. Yeah, BitDeer being up 18, IREN being up 18 as well, Hut 8 being up 17, BitDigital 15, Cleanspark up 13, Bitfarms up 13, Marathon up 11, TeraWolf up 10, Riot up 9, Hive only being up 8. Bitcoin was up 4% on the week. It looks like everybody has outperformed at least at 2x, if not higher than that. That's great to see, and that's kind of what we expect to see, especially as Bitcoin starts ripping up higher. Core was only up 2%. Core has had a huge run up here in the last couple months, so that's kind of to be expected. That's going to level off eventually, I think. But that's on the weekly. If we look at the 4 weeks here, we can see that we've had a really good 4 weeks here as well on Bitcoin and miners. Bitcoin's up 22%. It looks like everybody has pretty much outperformed Bitcoin here, with a few notable exceptions. Let's see here. What's one? BitDeer's up the most, 55%, along with Cypher, 52%. Oh, what else we got? Hut 8, BitDigital, definitely like a 2x on top of what Bitcoin has done. And then some of these guys are at least following suit with Bitcoin or outperforming a little bit here, at least in the 4 weeks. Looking at the 12 weeks, things definitely changed at that point. Bitcoin's up 8%. Only one that has, or only a couple that have outperformed it are Core being up 25%, Hive being up 16%, TeraWolf up being 30%, BitDigital up 17%, Hut being up 9%, and IREN being up 18% at that point. And then on the 12 weeks, no, things really changed there. Bitcoin's up 14% from 12 weeks ago. Everybody else, except for Core, being up 18%, it has underperformed Bitcoin at that time frame. So that's kind of where we're looking at. And we've had a really good 3 weeks here in Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners for the most part, except for the prior week where it was kind of mixed more or less. But other than that, it's been getting more green here, which is nice to see. And I expect to see a lot more green as we get into October and into November as well. All right. But that is basically it. It's always nice to take a look at those things as well. And yeah, we'll call it a day here. So as always, my little sales pitch here. Patreon members get access to all of these spreadsheets and everything else. Link is in the description for that. If you want to get access to it, you might be able to find a couple spots that are like at $4 or $5 that are still open. Otherwise, it's $8 a month. And if you pay the annual subscription, it's 10% off. So you get a little bit of a discount at that point as well. Okay. So that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. So you guys have questions on, comments, anything else that's going on in the world, or anything that's pressing to you guys. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can find some questions here. What else we got here? Bear with me while I do this. Let's see. What do we got? Okay. Here we go. Question is, BitDigital a good investment? Thanks. Okay. That's not an easy question to answer. I'm going to try as best as I can. BitDigital, you have to look at the whole picture with BitDigital. They do have a nice customer there for about $100 million in revenue, roughly a year right now. They're getting another one that's a couple $1 million a year right now, but it has the potential to go to as high as 700 million. So that's on the HPCI play. Bitcoin mining, they're at less than 3 exahash right now. They were planning to get to around 6 exahash by the end of the year. Those plans seems like they have stalled, and looks like they're transitioning more over into HPC AI. For that reason, and I've said this, I was in a space with Bitcoin mining stock guy. I said with the HPC AI plays, the only way the stocks are going to go up on that is if you bring in more customers for the HPC AI, right? Whereas with Bitcoin mining, you can bring in more ASICs and you can generate more revenue that way as well, because you're going to take possibly hash rate away from somebody else, so you're gaining market share at that point. So that's tough. Also, they are asset light. When I say asset light, they don't own any infrastructure for their buildings or anything like that. It's all hosted, third party, all of that. So they're not getting the benefit of being a Bitcoin miner, nor the benefit of being an HPC AI play, kind of similar to what CORZ has. And that's unfortunate, I think. Eventually, I think in time, they will have their own infrastructure. It's going to be grown out slowly, but they're doing everything right. They're profitable. They're doing all the things that they should be doing. It's just they're not getting the bid for it because I think of the asset light approach that they're currently in, which could be also a good thing for them because they don't have to spend the money on it. They can just put the machines where they need to for HPC AI and be non-dependent on location, I guess you could say as well. So as far as where could they go, they could go much higher, I think. Also, I think this one might be like a longer term play, whereas the miners that have huge growth going forward and are even HPC plays, those guys are maybe like a next 6 to 12 months play where you're going to buy them if you have been buying, or if you bought it before, hold on to them until they peak or close to peaking and then sell them. And that's going to be it. So it's a different approach. I think BitDigital might be like a longer term play possibly. All right. What else we got here? Trying to find another question. Let's see. M asks, can you really make profit from miner despite constant dilution? Price of BTC went back to 66K, but miners were lower comparison to last BTC. There is so many elements that add risk. It all depends on when you buy. If you buy at the peak, it's harder for you to get return on your investment, I guess you could say. But if you buy in at lower prices or you dollar cost average in, it is very, very good upside potential that way, right? A lot of the miners are already up 6, 8, 10x from where they were at the bottom. If you got in at those points, you're doing really well. If you got in recently, then you're probably not doing that great. So you just have to look at that as well. Dilution, for the most part, is accretive if it's done right. There are a few companies that are doing it right, which I think they're doing it right at least. And I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I think that dilution is accretive as long as it's done right. Okay. What are the difference between Riot and Bitcoin? Bitcoin dumps on Sundays, Riot dumps every day. Okay, that's not really a question. Let's see. Thanks, Seb. There is news rumors saying that insiders of Cleanspark are selling. Is that something to worry about? Depending if it's... sometimes they have to have these predetermined dates and sell prices for things to go through. I don't know if this is part of that. Let me see if I can maybe look up on the SEC website, see if we can find anything on it recently, if they filed anything. Let me see your search. CLSK. I didn't want that. Go back. Search. CL. Bear with me. Oh, I did it again. When you search the SEC website and you hit enter, it gives you a whole slew of things instead of selecting the company that you're looking for. CLSK. There we go. Okay. Did it right this time. Let's see. Notice of effectiveness. Prospectus. That was September 27th. That was when? Friday. Let's take a look at this. Okay. So here's a screen for it. And I do have this kind of... Okay. There we go. We can fit more into it. Issuer, Cleanspark, Mining Taylor. Mining Taylor. So he's their CMO, Chief Mining Officer there. Let's see if he's selling anything here. Number of shares sold, 1,350. Only, so I mean, not much. I mean, look at the only had $14,000. Was it, what was it for? Does it say? Sometimes they'll put a note in there why they are selling. I don't see it. Let's see. Common stock acquired as part of an equity incentive plan. So did he get those or is he selling those? Numbers of shares we sold. So that might be like where he got shares and he has to sell a portion of it in order to sell, to pay the taxes on it. I don't see it being, sometimes they'll put a note in there that that's what the case is. But yeah, I mean, that's not much. I got more shares than that. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. That's the one that I see right now for them, at least. What else? September. Okay. Prospectus rule, effectiveness. Yeah, those are all things we already talked about. So ownership disclosures. September 13th. Who was that? Let's see. That was Gary V. He's their CFO. This was also part of their... Yeah, shares were withheld by issuer to cover the payment of withholding taxes in connection with the vesting and settlement of the... Yeah, so those are all for tax purposes. They have to sell them. Otherwise, they have to pay it out of their own pockets. So, yeah. Nothing really to see there. Okay, let's go back to the Q&A. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. GSEC says, hi, Sebastian, hope you're doing good. Are you worried about miner dilution affecting stock price? James from Invest Answer says he won't touch miners due to constant dilution. Appreciate your thoughts. Yes, there's dilution, but can you still make a 5 to 10x on them? Yeah, you still can, depending when you get into it. So I'm okay with dilution for the most part, as long as it's done right. And the only thing I don't like is companies that like hodl all the time and dilute investors to do so. I'm not a big fan of that. I want the miners to actually sell a portion of their Bitcoin in a bull run. If they do that, I'm okay with it. Okay. David asks, what price would you sell CORZ if you had it? I do have CORZ. I would probably wait on CORZ till I reach like $20, $30, $40, somewhere around there, I think. Thing I'm waiting on is for them to come out with news stating that they are buying more machines for Bitcoin mining, which they have a deal, I believe, with Block right now, but that is just like in paper. It's not a nothing is definitive yet on that one, I guess you could say. Okay. See, David says, hi, Seb. Cleanspark production in Georgia took a hit from Hurricane Helen. Do they put any news out? They haven't put any news out yet. That's why I said earlier in the video that they might put something out tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. If not, we'll maybe find out more on Tuesday or Wednesday when they normally put out the production updates for the prior month. So, yeah, but that's to be expected. You know, you got a huge hurricane going through. You're going to have some power outages, and until those power outages are repaired, you're going to be down on production. Okay. Andy here. Hey, Seb, I joined late, so apologies if you already talked about this, but do you think Cleanspark was impacted by the hurricane? And if so, are you concerned about what their equipment might have been damaged? I don't think their equipment would have been damaged. The miners, I mean, if they shut down, they shut down. It's not a big deal, right? But yeah, there might be some shutdowns or outages happening across Georgia. They might be included in that as well. Right? They don't have any backup generators for that, so if power goes out not only to them, it goes out to the other businesses around the area, to residential as well. So that's going to get fixed, which I would expect it to get fixed within a couple of days, if it hasn't already been fixed. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Cleanspark 50 says Cleanspark will dump if BTC is down 2%. All the miners will go down if Bitcoin's down. Okay, let's see here. Freedom by 40 on power mining said BTB will be a huge gainer even with Bitcoin at only 100,000. What you think? What he knows that we don't know. Well, Bitcoin going up in value is going to lift all boats, including the ones that don't have a lot of growth, right? With BitDigital as well. But they do have some HODL there as well. That's going to lift them up. I just don't know how much it's going to lift them up. Okay. Trying to find a question here. Bear with me. LTD Lawn Services says, hate to say I am seeking another pullback to add to positions with dry powder. Yeah, I wouldn't mind another little pullback, to be honest, too. Okay. Let's see here. LTD also says, also hearing about Powell giving a speech tomorrow unexpectedly. Okay, that would be kind of interesting what that is about. Okay. Question: why don't Cleanspark sell some of the Bitcoin stash to expand to 50 exahash when the mine more, they can put it back to the reserves instead of diluting shareholders? They have been doing that. I think they're already fully funded to 50 exahash for the miners themselves. I'm not sure about the infrastructure side of things, but they're fully funded, I believe, now to 37 exahash. So it's not too far away from the 13 exahash that they need to get to 50 exahash. But they sold last cycle, whereas other miners were holding the whole way through the bear market. Marathon, Hot 8 as well. Those two have been doing that for a while now. And I would expect Cleanspark to sell more in the bull run as things progress, but we will see. Hello, Seb. With the ongoing geopolitical uncertainty, do you see BTC as a safeguard or a risky investment? Well, BTC has always been a risky investment. I would say more so on the short-term side of things than the long-term. Long-term, I think it's a good investment, but if you're in it for a short-term, you might get wrecked, unfortunately. Okay. Okay. Hi, Seb. Do you think Bitfarms will hit their goal and go over 5 in a year? Yeah, if Bitcoin goes up to 100,000, close to that, I think they will get to $5 and more, maybe. Okay, let's see. I had a decent amount of cash on Thursday, but decided not to buy until I see what is happening on Monday. Oh, yeah, I bought, when did I buy? Did I buy Friday or Thursday? I can't remember now, but I bought some more Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms on that day. I think it was Friday. No, it might have been Thursday. I think it was Thursday I bought. Okay. Who has a good track record of accretive dilution? Can you go through the miner's name one by one? The ones that have done a great job, I think, are Cleanspark, IREN as well. I would say even Cypher. You could possibly include their Terrible in there as well. Who else? Core really hasn't really diluted much except for recently, but they paid off a lot of debt, so that was fine there. Who else? Marathon and Riot are a little bit questionable right now because they've diluted a lot, but they also paid themselves handsomely with stock-based compensation. Their operations haven't been that great in the past as well, and Marathon just continues to hodl everything. They were selling a little bit earlier this year and last year as well, if you remember, but that was just a short period of time. And recently they've been just buying more, which is even worse, I think. But those are the ones I would think of. Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Look and sound much better than Friday. Do you think BTC will tank big next week? I wouldn't expect it to tank big. We might have go down in value a little bit here on Monday, which is the last day of the month. All right. But then I would expect maybe Bitcoin to come down a little bit more from there and then bounce back up. But I don't know if it's going to be a really going down too far. We'll see. Nobody can say where the future is going to be. If you had to pick between two of your holdings, IREN or Bitfarms, which would you pick? Gosh. If I had to pick only those two guys, I think Bitfarms is more undervalued right now than IREN is, but they still have Riot on their backs. So I think that's maybe keeping the stock down. So if you're looking for like less risk, I would have to say probably IREN at that point. Okay. Hey, Seb, so I've been tracking Mara Pool, and it appears that they will mine 682 Bitcoin for the month of September with 95% uptime. Well, that's great. We'll have to definitely take a look at that when that does come out. Let's see. Seb, did you have people like Freedom by 40 in the last cycle predicting stuff, and how accurate were they? Oh gosh, I can't remember if we did. I wasn't as active as I am now on YouTube and X and everything else before that, so I don't know. We had Blondity last cycle. I was watching him, if you remember. I was also paying attention a little bit to Anthony at that point as well. But that was more towards the end of the cycle. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. Sarman says, no more pullbacks, gents. When we've been buying for over 2 years, we need to go up now. Finally, can't just buy forever. Yeah. But I'd like a little bit of a dip to buy more. So what do you think price will be for Cleanspark Bitcoin hits 100,000? So that's roughly 60% growth from where we are right now. I would say at least 2 to 3x from where it is, if not a little bit more. Somewhere around there, right? But those are conservative numbers. It could go even up higher. Let's see. That says, you look tired today, or maybe you have been in front of the screen for a long time today. I hope you're well. Yeah, I am well. I don't know if it's just the camera view or if I'm closer to the camera or whatnot. Maybe the lighting. Maybe the light makes me look more tired. I don't know. But no, today was a good day. Watched the Bears game play. That was fun. Spent time with my kids. Went out to a birthday party, and now I'm back in here. So I'm not any more tired than I would be normally. Okay. What else do we have here? Tanya says, watch coin as movement under the miners, canary in the coal mine. Yep, I've heard that before too. Okay. Andre says, hey Seb, did you say Blondity? Yeah, I used to watch Blondity. Did you watch him too? And then Andrea says, please smash that like gang. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see if do we got a couple more questions coming in here? Yeah, we do have some stuff coming in here. So I've caught up to all your questions, comments. I'm looking at the screen over to the side here, which shows them all to me. Let's see. Andre says, I remember watching Blondity Miner Analysis YouTube videos last cycle. Yeah. He had some good stuff in there, and then he, for some reason, just disappeared. Let's see. Casey says, Cleanspark affected by storm, might be offline for a while on some machines, depending when they get the power back up. But yeah, it could be a day or two, could be 3 days, who knows. Ed, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Seb. You're awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that. Did Blondity make a new video this year? I'm not aware of that. I thought he got hacked or something like that. I don't know if it was Blondity. I haven't seen it. If you've seen it, I'd definitely love to check it out, see what he's up to. Okay. Well, I think we're all caught up. What's going on with Bitcoin here? Take a quick gander at it. And it's down a little bit more here. So Bitcoin is down now approximately 1.84%. It's down $1.2 thousand. Still above our support here. Let's see what's looking on the 15-minute chart. RSI is way oversold here on it. So we might be bottoming out here maybe. But it's been oversold here for about an hour. So we might get a bounce there. How's the 1 hour chart looking? That's also oversold right now in the RSI. 4 hour chart definitely plummeted quite a bit here. I mean, the RSI is as low as we have been back here, 57,000. So that's a good sign in that sense, right? We need a little pullback to go up higher from here. I welcome these, especially if we continue a nice upward trajectory. You're not going to have a continuation where it's all green all the time. You need a pullback, a little reset, and go forward from there. So it's not looking too bad. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, we got a couple more questions I see. Okay. Let's see, Bitcoin gains 90,000 of year 2024, then Bitfarms achieves 19x as you think they can go to up to $6. It might be possible. It's 90, I would say maybe hard. I would like it to be closer to 100,000 at that point. For them to do a 3x from where they are right now, Bitcoin would only be doing 50% or something like that. So yeah. Can you explain the RSI? So RSI is the relative strength index on something. So the way to look at it is, or at least the way I've been taught to look at it is, normal range, trading range is between 70 and 30. If you go below 30, you are oversold. If you go above 70, you are overbought at that point. And we can see here that on the daily, we're still in that good range of between 70 and 30. So no fear of being overhyped or overbought. If we look at like the 15-minute, you can see that we are definitely in the red here on the RSI. We're at 15, we're below the 30. That means it's oversold. And we are catching a little bit of bounce here, looks like right now on the 15-minute. 1 hour chart, same thing. That's kind of the way I look at it also on those time frames. You can also look at like the weekly time frame as well, see how RSI is doing on it. And, look at the peaks and the valleys on it, see where it was the lows before. Are we higher from the lows than prior to that? That's always a good sign. That means we can possibly go up another leg up, right? Come back down and then be back higher than where we were like even right now, okay? That's kind of the way I look at it. All right, Q&A. Okay. D. Roy says, the new set looks great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Andre says, realistically, we don't want any real pullbacks to let the bears regain strength. We want to make people buy in higher and higher. We do, but we need a little bit of pullback. Those are always healthy, I think. Kevin says, important question. What is the giraffe's name? It is Molly. Molly the giraffe. Okay. And if you weren't in the beginning of the video, I said Molly's been with me since our first son was born. So we don't have the heart to get rid of her. So I wanted to put her into the studio here, get a little bit of something in the background happening instead of being a bland wall. Okay. Do you see Bitcoin touching 60 this week? Going down to 60 from where it's at right now? Let's take a look. I don't know. Let's pull the screen up here. We're at 64. We'd have to go down 4,000. What would that be on from where we were? That would be a decrease to 60,000. That would be like a 10% drop roughly. 9% drop, right? 8? Or is that 60,000? There it is. 8.5% drop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't see that. I think first we're going to see it hitting this support at 63,700. If that doesn't hold, then we might dip below it, get down to the 61,000 mark. That's our next support. That's where I'll be looking at for the supports on it. Okay. Okay, where are we at? Yeah, 64.3 is the W bottom, breakout, or failure area. Okay. Richard says, I checked the GA outage map. Only 5 customers without power in Sandersville. Don't sound as bad as fearmongers are alluding to. Okay. So things are definitely improving there from when the storm hit. Kim says, Molly is a Dorbs. Yeah, she's a little cutie there. Let's see. Which miners are diluting a lot? All the miners for the most part. The ones that are growing tremendously, they're all diluting. We'll take a look at those numbers when we see the quarterly results for the miners for Q3. So it's going to be out probably in the next 6 weeks or so. We'll take a look at how much they diluted from Q2 to Q3. See, John Kurt says, Chartist Dan on YouTube says 210 Bitcoin, been right for many years, 400,000 followers. Okay. I'm saying around 180,000. We'll see how close we get to that. 210 would be not too far off from where I'm thinking. So pretty good. Okay. All right. I think let me see. See one more coming in through here. Let's see. I'm not able to pronounce your name here, but I spent all my money for Bitfarms at $2.70, and now I think it gains 4 in this year. I will sell half of them and put into Cleanspark and IREN before the end of the year. You think it is safer than only Bitfarms? Yeah, if you're only in one company, yeah, definitely diversify a little bit more. I mean, these companies are volatile as heck already on their own. But if you only have one, that's, yeah, that would be a little scary for me to just have one. Sarmelin Gaming says, is October our month, Seb? Is this when we finally take off? I think so. Historically, when we look at it, it is a good month for us. Now, will it play out this cycle again? I think the probability of that is pretty high. I mean, look at October here. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years where it was in the green and only 2 years that's been in the red. And both of those have been after a bear market. The only difference here is we didn't have it. Well, we had a bear market in 2022, but it was actually up here, surprisingly. So I would expect it to be in the green as well. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to the Q&A, and I think we might call it a day because I think we're caught up to all of the questions here. Night Wicked says, thanks, Seb. Have a good night. You too. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's see. All right. I think that's it. Yep, we are fully caught up to all the questions here. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. Tomorrow, I mean, we're down a little bit here and then new day. But I think going forward, things will be better, especially once we get into October. But the start of October might be a little bumpy, right? We just don't know exactly where it's going to go. But historically, October has been a month for us. And that's what I'm kind of expecting this time around as well. Okay, so that's it. We'll see whatever news we have tomorrow. We'll get into the new miner updates for September in Tuesday's video. I'm sure we're going to have Bitfarms, maybe Cleanspark, somebody else report as well. And then we'll get through everything else at that point also. All right. So enjoy your Sunday night, or if you're already in the morning, enjoy your week. Thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Bye.